Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be duplicating a look that I found on Pinterest. I, as a makeup artist, have a lot of clients coming in with inspo pics of what they would like to duplicate for their looks. So I think it's really kind of fun to look at something and try and duplicate it and also adjust to the face that's in front of you. So it's not going to be exactly the same, but you can kind of get the inspiration from it. So this is my look, the inspiration. I will pop up an image so you can see it. So yeah, this is something I do like to do. I even have like a little thing on my Instagram where I do different looks and I duplicate the looks. So it's always fun. I mean, my whole career, I feel like people have been bringing in pictures to like kind of duplicate. And sometimes I do like to get as close as we can. And I know there's now AI and filters and all kinds of stuff. So, but you can just try and do what you can to create something just as beautiful. It doesn't have to be exact, but it's fun to try and get it as close as you can. So I hope you guys enjoy this. So for a dramatic look, I always do like to start with a little bit of primer. And I am revisiting the Urban Decay. This product I have used in the past over like 20 years ago. And so I remember it worked really well back then. And so I am going to use it for this a little bit more dramatic look. Because I do have oily eyes, so everything does accumulate if I don't prep it with some kind of skincare. Not skincare, primer. I feel like this light is a little too bright. Let me see if I can adjust it. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. So we can see stuff. All right. And then these eye patches that I'm using, I am actually using them for the first time in a long time because I also use Skin Iceland. It's a skincare brand. I used to love this when I first started working at Sephora like 20 years ago. It was one of my favorite brands. And so I'm trying the Hydra Cool Firming Eye Gel patches. I have to say they're much better than most patches because they're not moving around. One thing I do notice about a lot of like eye patches is they'll start like sliding up and down, and these ones are like stuck, so they're not moving, which I definitely like. So I am going to prep my eye with a little concealer. I'm going to use a Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage SC4 concealer. So this is really awesome. It's one of my favorite concealers because it's more of like a gummy texture. So it has two different colors, so you can actually customize your shade, which is really nice. You just get the color. See, this one's probably not my color, but I would probably go with the number 3 or 2 if I was matching my skin, but I don't know why I have that one, but that's the one I have, so I'm going to prep my eye with it. The nice thing about it is it never looks super heavy, and this actually creates a really smooth surface, especially if you are more mature and have like a little texture to your eyes. I just panicked for like a split second because I thought I wasn't recording, but I am. So I'm just putting it all over the eyelid. Same thing on the other side. So it's very unique, the texture of this concealer. It's not to map out the base of my eyeshadow. I am going to use this brown eyeliner. in the picture, she has a very like bronzy, warm sculpt to her eye, and then just that pop of blue in the center. So I'm just going to use this to like sculpt out the shape that I want. So I like to start at the bottom. I always start with my color here. And then I always like to line it while my eye is looking straight ahead, so I can see where that color will actually peek out. Now, one thing I do, because I am extremely light-handed, is when I'm doing something dramatic, I usually will kind of in the beginning go heavier handed. Like in this step, I'm going to be a little bit more heavy handed, and I'm going to create a little bit more of a dramatic effect at the beginning, and then I'm going to kind of blend it. And all right, so we are taking that eyeliner and we're dragging it up. And to be honest, the shape doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to go... Oh my god, I grabbed a black instead of brown. Whoopsie. Oh no. Oh no. That's okay. I'm just going to put the brown over it, and then I'll maybe put a little black on the other side. That was weird. Okay. And I'm going to fill in this one. And I'm being super like heavy-handed because I am light-handed, so I know definitely that I will blend a lot of this away. So that's why I'm going a little bit ham when I'm mapping out the shape, because I know I'm a over blender and I want this look to be a little bit more dramatic. So that's like a thing to keep in mind if you know that you're extremely heavy-handed. It would be better for you to go lighter and slowly add more so you don't end up putting too much. But if you know that you're really light-handed, it's better to add like a ton of it, especially if you want it dramatic, and then blend away towards the end. I think I'm fine with the black. It's not that obvious. So I'm making more of like that little bit of angular shape. And then I'm gonna put just a little bit up in here. And I'm gonna blend it into that other spot. And then I am gonna put a little bit under the eye as well. So I'm basically using this eyeliner as like a base for my shadows. So I'm just kind of layering it, adding a little extra. I don't know why I'm so quiet today. I think it's just because it's later in the day. Perfect. So that's about like the shape I want with my eyeliner base. And then I am going to take a small little blending brush. So this is really great, especially if you do have smaller eyes, or if you're doing a little bit more detail, or if you find that, you know, everything kind of gets a little bit out of control. This kind of will help to keep your blending in control because it's a little bit of a smaller brush. So I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to start doing like little circular motions. Now I really want to blend this shadow or this eyeliner out to make it into almost like a softer shadow. So I'm going to blend it more inward instead of out because I kind of already like the shape that I have done. So I'm only going to blend the edges on the outside a little bit out. I'm mostly blending inward so that way it doesn't get too big. It kind of stays in my eyelid area because I'm bringing it more in. And then I am going to bring this down into the nose. And blend those two lines together. And then one thing is holding the brush further back. It gives you a lighter application. So you're not blending too hard and creating any kind of like, almost like when you grab the skin and it causes tugs. If you do it too much pressure, it can actually make the eyeshadow a little bumpy. So now I'm doing these teeny, teeny, tiny circular motions where I'm blending this out. And then on this part, I'm actually going to blend it up, like almost like I'm trying to reach my tip of my brow. And then I'm going to do it in. Just kind of blending those edges a little bit. And to be honest, I can also blend these edges later as well. So it's like I don't have to make sure that it's completely like, you know, blended light versus dark on my skin because I can go in later and use other products to blend out the edges. But that kind of lets you see how that blends really well. And then I'm going to go underneath here. Same thing. Beautiful. I'm going to do this eye and then come back to this eye. So I'm trying to keep like this video kind of short. So that's why I'm probably going to do a step on this eye and then off camera do the other step on that eye. Just so, I mean, you basically already saw what I did. So I feel like you don't have to sit through me doing it again on the other side. So I am going to take a little bit of shadow. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do more of a taupe color just to create a little bit more definition, kind of like almost like where my natural brow bone goes in to create like depth and make my eye look like it's pulling back just a smidge. So this is an amazing palette. I recently purchased this, I think during the holidays. It's Bella Beaute bar, Smokey Glam. I love it. I love these kind of rosy burgundy. Oh, they have really pretty shimmers and it's a really pretty palette and the formula is really great. So I'm going to use Mystery, which is more of a gray, because I'm going to use a lot of bronzers and warm tones. So I want to use this to kind of create depth before I use any kind of warm color. So I'm just going to kind of almost dot that. Like almost stipple it. Could not think of the word. Stippling is when you're bouncing the color up and down on your skin. Instead of swiping, you stipple. Now, the reason I am using something more gray, because technically the gray, I'm just putting like the itty bittiest bit on. The gray is a cool tone, and cool is a color that recedes, so it actually pulls back. And warm tones pull forward. So when I use something like a cool tone like this, it's going to take that area that I'm putting it on and it's pushing it backwards. So that way, when you look at my eye, that part looks like it's going back. So it kind of helps to create that little bit of that almond shape. And since I do, like in the photo, there are like more warm tones, I just wanted to lay this down underneath the warm tones so that we get that pull back, but then we can also play with some warm colors as well. And then I am going to put just like the ittiest bit here. Oh, that's funny. I ended up just doing my other eye. Well, this doesn't take very long. These steps are going to be quite simple. We're just going to be layering. So now I am going to add my warm color, which is the Toasted Bronzer from Benefit. Same thing, just the itty bittiest bit, same brush, same thing. And then since I have been putting like powder, that taupe color was a powder, I can do like these little kind of swipes because I laid that powder down. But then when I get to these areas that maybe I didn't put that powder, these are the areas I'm going to want to stipple. Because I'm putting a powder on top of a cream, which the Makeup Forever, these pencils, I don't know if I said which one I used. The Makeup Forever, this one's 608 Limitless Brown. These are so smooth. You could blend a shadow on top of it and it's not going to get splotchy because these are great for layering underneath any kind of eyeshadow color. Beautiful. Same thing on the other side. Stippling in here. And then in the photo, there's a lot of warmth around the edge of the eyeshadow. So I'm going to just kind of take this Melt Cosmetics. I forgot what the palette was that I got this out of, but I'll list it down below. I'm just going to kind of toast the edges, so they just have a little bit of warmth. And I'm just stippling this as well. Beautiful. Toast those edges with Toasted. And then if you notice, I am using just the same brush for all these steps, which is great. Don't have to use 20 million brushes. Just going underneath with that same color. I'm going to just take a little bit of that warmth and bring it in here just to round it out on the inside. Because we are going to be putting that blue in the center. And I want to create a little depth here so then that light looks even like it's popping out even more. Beautiful. In there, I'm going to tightline. So I'm going to take a little bit of this liner from, I believe it's Maybelline. I'm just going to press and wiggle that in between my lashes. Got a little bit on the top, I can feel it. So I'm just kind of pulling it to remove that little excess black. So this one is the Maybelline Tattoo Studio. Really good, nice and creamy, and it is a really good long wear. Same thing on this side. Beautimus. All right, so now I am going, oh man. Now I am going to take, I'm like trying to think if there's anything I'm missing as far as that. No, I think that's good. I'm gonna take a blue and a white to create, I don't technically have the color that's in that photo. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create the color because I have quite a few eyeshadow palettes. So I have the ABH Nirvana collection. This one is volume 2. I don't know if they sell these anymore. I think I saw a few at Ross Dress for Less. So it's a possibility you can find it some places. And then I'm going to use this blue, the C2. So I'm going to coat my brush in it like quite a few times. And then I'm going to take, this is actually one of the reasons I really love this palette is because of the white. I love a good white. Like, this is pretty new and I'm already getting really close to pan on the white. So I'm just kind of saturating it. So we're creating our own blue shade. It's a lot of white. So I'm going to grab a little bit more blue. Needs a little bit more. Okay, I think we're getting there. So in the photo, it almost goes kind of like angled in like this. So I'm going to kind of do that shape. I'm moving it up a little high. So then when my eye is open, you can still see it. So it's more like it's going round, but it's going round up this way instead of round up this way. Which I kind of like because it does make the eye look even more almond. Beautiful. And now I'm going to make it even a little bit lighter. And I'm just going to put the white. And I'm going to kind of do it in the center of that. Create like a highlight right in there. That wasn't a good idea. I think I blew eyeshadow into my eye. Whoopsie daisy. So you can see it kind of creates that little bit of round shape there. All right, I'm going to do the other eye off screen and I'll be back. All right, so now I'm going to take the Fantasy Cosmetica Batty Bean eyeshadow palette. This has come in quite handy. This was very handy when I went to the Bloodsuckers Ball. All these reds were really good to play with. So I am going to put the Moonlight on top I'm going to use that same flat brush. I dusted it off so it didn't have as much of the matte shadow on it. And I'm going to really work it into the brush. And I'm going to use a few different shimmers. This is just going to be my first layer. You can see the slight shimmer. And then I am going to take the Moondust Urban Decay Pyro. And we're going to use that kind of where we put that white to create that glitter effect. And then I am going to put just like little dots here and there. I don't want it to be perfect. I don't like it when it's too perfect, especially glitter. I feel like it looks weird if it's too perfect. And then I am going to add a little bit of the milk bath that's in this Smokey Glam. I feel like this is just going to be so pretty on top of this. And I have like that liquid, so it'll kind of stick a little bit better. Yeah, you can see the glitter a little bit. I'm like trying to... I'll try and take a video in like certain lighting so that you can see the glitter better, but because I feel like in this lighting you can never see it as well. All right, I'm gonna do the other eye and I'll be back. All right, so now I am gonna just take the littlest bit just to kind of like almost like define the edges. I'm gonna take some of that toasted on that small brush and we're just gonna kind of go around the edge of this little circle. And I'm just gonna kind of help define that circle. Make it a little bit more dramatic. Beautiful. Same thing on the other side. I mean, this one actually is pretty good. It's pretty well defined. Just maybe a little bit more on the inside here. Beautiful. Okay, so I think I'm gonna take these guys off. Let's see. Looks like an under eye. I feel like I might have to wash my hands because I have to put on a moisturizer. I think I'm gonna put on my moisturizer, put on some fake lashes, and then I'll come back and do my complexion. Okay, lashes on, moisturizer on. I'm gonna put a little bit of eyeliner on the inner rim. That Makeup Forever one. Yeah, I like that. Limitless Brown 608. Just to give a little bit more definition under the eye. Beautiful. All right, so now let's do a little complexion. I think I need to turn down my light. I feel like we need to see a little more. Yeah, we need to see a little bit more imperfections when we're doing complexion. So I'm going to start with, how How do I not have my concealers in here? That's weird. I've got to go get my concealers. So we're going to start with the Natasha Denona, one of my faves, a C2. This is the Hi Glam concealer. This one has more of a color correcting aspect to it. And then I think I am just going to go a little extra with my complexion. I'm going to add a little bit more coverage for this dramatic look. And then I am going to do a little dot of the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Concealer in, this one is Nougat 2.5G. I have to remember not to smack my lips. I was watching my other video and I do an annoying sometimes. And I don't like it. I do like a little bit of highlighting here too. Bring out those cheekbones. Maybe I'll do a little on the nose. Let's live it up. Let's live it up this one time. And then I am going to put contour. Ah, I did it. Ugh, I don't like that. Ugh, weird things you do when you're filming. All right, so I'm gonna do the e.l.f. light medium liquid bronzer and contour. I'm not gonna use that much of this because I always forget that it's a lot. It gives you a lot of product. I'm gonna bring back my chin. My chinny chin chin. So we're gonna take a, you know what? I'm gonna use this one for the concealer brush, the Angie Hot Flashy 503. And I'm just gonna use that to kind of slightly blend stuff out. I rediscovered the Beauty Blender. I have not used that thing in years. And I saw it the other day when I was at Ulta. And I was like, I remember using that thing. I don't know why I stopped, but I did. So I'm revisiting it. I feel like, because I've been doing makeup for over 20 years, and you know how like when people become a certain age, they start looking into like ancestry.com and just like trying to figure out their past, where they come from. Like I feel like for makeup artists, like there might be a thing where like you rediscover all the stuff you used to play with when you first started doing makeup. So I've like really just started reusing stuff I haven't used in years. So blend it out, and then I'm going to take the Beauty Blender and kind of press it just to take off any excess. That is what I really... Okay, I like made myself have a mustache. That is one thing that I really did like about the Beauty Blender, is that it does take off excess product, as long as you don't get it in your contour. I guess I'm a little out of practice using the Beauty Blender. And then just kind of pressing it. That was funny. That was silly. Still feel like it's a little heavy under here. All right, now I'm gonna blend out the contour. I'm going to use the Nikki LaRose number N18. This one's really fast and efficient. That's why I like it. Sometimes bigger brushes, you can kind of lose control of them, but if they're the right shape, it makes it so fast and easy to kind of blend everything out really fast. I do like small brushes for detail and like having a little bit more control over your product, but there is a time and a place for a big brush. For like just getting the job done. Getting it on there and going. Then I kind of pat it into that bronzer and the contour on the eye. Oh, it's like, why do I even do my bangs before this? But I do it every time. And then I just mess up my bangs. I'm cool with it. And then pull back my jawline. And that's the other thing, this brush, like the shape, it makes it so easy to kind of get in those concaves where you need to contour. Fast and easy. So then I would take the Beauty Blender and kind of just make sure everything's nice and pushed in. Cool. I dig it. And now I am going to take a little bit of the e.l.f. This is the Halo Glow in number 6. And I'm just going to use the tiniest bit on my hand, like so. And then I'm going to take a little of the Natasha Denona. This one is the Hi Glam foundation. And do a little bit of that. That's the ratio. Actually, I think I'm going to put a little bit more Hi Glam. Now that's the ratio. Wow, look at how light my hand is compared to my body. All right, so now we're just going to mix them together. Create a warm foundation to go with this cool eye. And then I'm just kind of starting around the jawline because I always like to bring my foundation down to my body because my neck is always so light because I have a big head. So my neck never gets sun because of my big head. And then I'm just kind of stippling on top of what I just did. And then taking like a little bit, like, remember how I was saying you can blend out any of your eyeshadows? You can actually just take your foundation and kind of blend out the edges. And then I'm going to kind of do the same thing in the center corner. So it's softer, not as stark. I love it. I love it so much. All right, so now we're going to do a little blush. No, we're not going to do blush. What are we going to do? We're going to do setting powder. How do I not have setting powder here? Ugh. Just not prepared today. Well, this will give, it's good to give your foundation a little second to kind of sit before you do anything to it. So let's just give the foundation a little second to sit. Okay? Sound good? Sounds good to me. All right, so we're gonna take, whoa, that is way too bright. Sorry. So now we're gonna take the Easy Bake by Huda Beauty. This one is Cupcake. I don't know why I can't remember the names of anything ever in my life. I don't even remember people's names that I do know. I'll know someone's name and I literally can't think of it. One time when I was at Sephora, I literally was introducing the client, like, because you have to pass people off to like other people. And I came up to my coworker and I knew her name. I like knew her name, but I came up and I was like, "Oh, Cindy, this is," and I sat there like looking at her, and then she had to say her name. And I was so embarrassed. She was like, "You don't know my name?" And I'm like, "Yes, I know your name. I don't know why my brain does that." I felt really bad. Like she thought I didn't think she was important, but I was like, no, I don't know what's wrong with my brain. Like sometimes people's names that I literally know, I will forget. It's quite embarrassing sometimes. Like that particular instance. It was so awkward. All of us were standing there like, what is happening? So this is something that I used to do a lot, was use a beauty blender to set my makeup. What is that? Yeah, just contour. And you just bounce it on top. And I actually do like how it does it, because it doesn't actually, because the one bad thing about the beauty blender is that it absorbs. So a lot of times it will absorb a lot of your products. So sometimes you can be kind of wasting product if you're applying it with a beauty blender. So that's why I kind of like apply stuff. And then like after I blended it a little bit with a brush, I will blend it with the beauty blender. You know what it is? I went walking yesterday and I got sunburnt. Sometimes I start a conversation in my head and then finish it outside. And I just did that just now. Because I was looking at my décolleté thinking, why am I so red? And then I said out loud, you know what it is? I was in the sun yesterday. Just some stupid ass shit I do all the time. All right. So, yeah, see how it like, it doesn't over apply it, but it still helps to kind of set everything. And I forgot that I like that, because I stopped using the beauty blender. So it makes it look like airbrushed. So now I'm going to do some blush. So I'm going to take the Patrick Ta She's Seductive. I really do like this blush. Like if you're more of like light to medium, it's a really great like natural blush. So I actually am going to do it how he does it, where he does the powder first and then he does the cream after. I did it yesterday and I did like it. It's like, you know, sometimes you just got to try it the way the person who created it, especially if it's a makeup artist, try it how they do it. See if you like it. Sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't. And then I'm just kind of stippling this because I don't want to get a splotchy application. So stippling it when you're first applying it on top of, I mean, I did set it with a beauty blender, but the beauty blender doesn't like pack on the powder. So my skin probably is like just like not super dry, but it's also not super gooey. So I want to just stipple it instead of swiping. So I have done that crazy bright pink blush where it's like right there. And it's pretty fun, but I, for the most part, like putting it on my cheekbones, especially because my face is so long. So if I put it just like right here, it actually would make my face look longer. So when I put it here, like in this middle section and like in a big area, it ends up helping to cut my face in half so it doesn't look as long. That's the only thing sometimes with those kind of trends is sometimes they're not designed for every face shape. I mean, if you don't care, you know, if you do have a long face and you don't care that it makes it look longer, then go at it. But if you do feel like your face is a little long, it is better to put your blush kind of like in this area where it cuts your face in half. Just a little tip from me to you. And now I'm going to use the bronzer from L'Oreal Infallible. This one is $2.60. This is really nice because it's very natural. It's very subtle. You can kind of go ham on it and it's not going to look overdone. So see how like in the beginning, remember how I was talking about how I made it like way over saturated and very dramatic? Like all these things I've been putting over it have kind of toned it down and smoothed it out and made it look like it's a little bit more part of my eyelid. So like things like this, the bronzer I'll take and I'll kind of put it on top of that edge right there. And then on my jawline. A little on the nose, on the chin. I am going to go a little extra on the bronzer because in the photo she's very, very bronze. Definitely more of a warmer tone than I am, but I want to kind of create that bronzy effect. So I'm going to take a little bit of that warmth. And then I'm actually going, I need to stop saying actually. I am going to put it in the bronzer. And then I'm going to kind of warm it up on my hand. Get it a little bit more warmth. I wonder, you know what I just realized? Because I complain about saying actually on this quite frequently. And in my Instagram, I'm constantly getting like people saying, you don't speak professionally. Take this course to learn how to speak better and more professional. And now I'm realizing maybe it's because I keep mentioning that. I keep saying actually, or I need to stop saying that because our phones are always listening to us. So now that I've put on like quite a bit of powder, now I can kind of go in and start kind of using my brush in more of a swiping motion. I think I am going to go just a little bit more, and I'm going directly in it because I want a little bit more bronze, a little bit more than usual, because I'm gonna have to take photos for the thumbnail on YouTube. So I just need a little extra color. So like if it ends up like showing too much color, you can always just keep going in and kind of working it into the skin. It'll help to kind of blend it out. And then, I mean, usually people don't have 20 million bronzers like I do, but that's why sometimes it's kind of nice to have something that's a little bit lighter. So if you feel like, oh, that's a little too much, you'll just take your lighter bronzer and kind of blend it out. And it can soften that edge. Yes, I like that. Okay, I'm gonna do the other side because this is taking a little too long, and I'll be back. All right, so I am gonna just dust off that excess powder because I want to use this for the cream blush. So the cream is usually at the top, has a little thing to protect it, and I'm just gonna stipple a little bit of that on there. And you can see it ends up giving that glow back to the skin. Same thing on the other side. We're stippling, we're stippling, we're stippling, we're stippling. Beautiful. The other thing too I like doing with blush is I don't like making it too perfect. I don't think it looks as natural. So I like it kind of, if you notice, I like kind of am like in big areas and kind of all over the place, because when you do get a natural flush, it ends up kind of being everywhere. It's not one little area. So that does end up helping it to look a little bit more natural. So now for lips, I got new lip products. I'm super excited about it. So I'm going to do my lips a little bit more pink than she does it in her image, the image that I'm using, because it's going to complement my skin tone better. And I'm definitely going to overdraw per use. I overdrawed my lips again. I got this new lip liner from Ulta, and I really like it. The name is Beige Turner. Are they talking about like, are they referencing like Paige Turner or like Tina Turner? Because if it's Tina Turner, that would make me really happy because I love Tina Turner. Beautiful. Gorgeous. And I'm not talking about the makeup, I'm talking about myself. That's right. All right, and then the lipstick I got was Be My Bridesmaid. How cute. Oh my god. It's a really pretty nude. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it. Gorge. Okay. And that is a finished look. I might add a little bit of shadow under my eyes and some lashes, but this is basically it. How do you guys like it? Muy bien. All right, I'll do my close out session. Probably do my hair so it looks a little bit nicer. Okay? Okay. One thing I forgot to do is do my brows. This is the Anastasia Volumizing Brow Tint Gel. Uh-oh. Got it. I got it. This is really nice because it's super fast and easy. Especially after I've done all this stuff. The last thing I want to do is spend 20 hours on my brows. So just a little bit. Perfect. All right. And here is the finished look. Very blue, a little more dramatic, which is always fun. So we did something. I don't know what we did, but we did something. So I hope you guys learned something. I know I got a little kooky at the end. After I've been filming for a while, I kind of get stir crazy. So if you would like to get a hold of me, you can definitely DM me on my Instagram. And what else do I want to say? If you have anything that you're curious about or anything that you want me to go over or are interested in learning, leave a comment down below. And do you want to say hi, Sheba? Come here. I know. It's always weird to end it because you're always like, what do I say? I'll come up with something. I'll come up with a sign off so we don't have to be awkward like this again. So thanks for watching. I hope you learned something, and I will see you next time.